a plant of a mustard plant, immediately you have to notice that there are many more coming up, and you don't see where they're coming up. So if you want to get rid of the mustard plants, then you will have to dig up the whole farm and you will ruin the whole order. You see, if it's just one small weed over there, you can easily go there, pick it up, and it's gone. Okay, but the kudzu plant, or let me say the mustard seed, you see, you cannot get rid of that thing. You see, because it's invasive, it crosses the boundaries you've made, it will grow where you don't want it, and how hard you try, you cannot get rid of it. And while you're getting rid of it, you are ruining the things you do want. So listen, where a farmer that sees kudzu plants coming up, or mustard plants, you see, both kudzu plants and mustard plants are basically the same, kind of. So I would just say mustard plant. Whenever you see a mustard plant and you try to get rid of it, be guaranteed you're ruining your whole order. You're ruining, you won't have flowers there, or you won't have grapes there, or you won't have onions there. The whole thing is ruined when you begin to get rid of the mustard plants. Okay, so you get this now. So Jesus is basically saying that the kingdom of heaven, or let me say the kingdom of God, God's rulership is like an invasive weed. So God's rulership is invasive. It comes and grows in places where you don't want it to grow, and it ruins all expectations of human beings, of unsafe human beings. And you see, when Jesus spoke this parable, people were amazed, because everybody knew that a mustard plant is dangerous, is harmful, is annoying, is frustrating, and ruins all your expectations. So nobody wants to have a mustard seed. Nobody wants to have mustard seed plants into their garden. Nobody wants to see that mustard plant around. But Jesus said the kingdom of God is like that. You see? Now this thing, I'm going to illustrate another thing. Let's remove this. And let's say you have a tree here. There are branches in the ground, one tall tree around here. Okay? Let me zoom in. Yes. You have one tall tree around there, and you have bushes around. If you want to get rid of that tree, you only have to cut the tree off, and the tree will fall down and it's gone. And later you can also root up the roots and it's gone, okay? Now let's say you have all kinds of vegetables growing in the ground around here. And among those you have kudzu seeds, or let me say mustard seeds, being coming into the ground. Those mustard seeds will grow. You have a bush here, a bush there, and the roots of the plant go all the way down. Then you get the idea. See? When you want to get rid of the mustard bushes, you take one of those things out, you're also ruining the crops that are around, that are growing. So this thing, you can easily, hold on. This thing here, this tree, you can easily get rid of it. You can even say, well, we allow the tree to grow for a few years and then we cut it off, we have it under control. And basically, it's not really that you have the tree under control, but you can eliminate the tree anytime you want. But this thing here, the crops are things people want, the things people esteem high, the things unsafe people want to hear. The gospel is the mustard seed, things that people don't want, but it's growing everywhere. You want to get rid of it, if the world wants to get rid of believers, the world will have to ruin itself completely. Okay? Because, you know, believers, those that are born again, you have them everywhere. You have a lot of believers in this class, here also. Among the opportunists, you have believers, and also along the blue bloods, you also have some that become born again. But all of them they have the same vision, that is to glorify God. And their aim is not to preserve this imaginary construction. So the believers, those that are born again, are the mustard seeds that are being sown by Christ into the world. And we grow like crazy, you see. And we invade spaces unbelievers don't want us to invade. And we grow there and we won't leave. And our presence will have an impact that cannot be, cannot be undone. Once we grow, we flourish as believers, our impact is there and it cannot be undone, it cannot be ignored. So if the world wants to get rid of Christians, they will have to ruin the whole world. They have to ruin all their cultures. They will basically just be destroying themselves. Because some of those crops because a crop grows as a result of a plant, okay? Like for example, you have grain, or you have cereals. Let me say you have corn. The corn is a fruit of a plant, okay? And sometimes we have wheat that looks like corn, but it's not corn, okay? All of that happens, so it's not always clear to see if someone is really a Christian or someone's just a churchgoer. And sometimes it's very difficult to know if someone's really born again or not. So when the world, when unbelievers want to get rid of Christians, they have a hard time discerning who is a Christian and who's not. Because if someone is not a Christian, but they're just a part of the world and they attack the individual, they've just harmed the world, their place. You see? Well, take a look at this for a while. Okay? I'm going to talk about the second part, verse 32 of Matthew chapter 13 in a moment, but understand this well. The kingdom of God is as an invasive weed, you see, that impacts the whole world and destroys the whole world structure. Alright? And now I'm going to wipe this out, because I'm going to illustrate something else. It's quick. Okay. Now, look carefully. Let's talk about birds. I'm going to draw a few birds here. Birds often flock together in groups, okay? Just like humans do. Let's say you have a group of birds here, and you have a piece of land, and you have all kinds of crops. This is a finch, and here's another farm of someone else, okay? Or here you might find a big tree here or around there. And now let's say that, you see, let's call this is the world. It is, let me say, this is the USA, this is Canada, this is, Japan. I'm not talking about geographic locations here, I'm just using this as a metaphor, okay? This is Japan, or as they write in Japanese, Nippon. Okay. And this is a boundary, imaginary. And here you have another pyramid. And say, this is the middle class. These are the peasants, the peasants, the peasants. And here you have the millionaires, billionaires, and there you have the, I would say, the elite. Well, you have the elite, you have the millionaires, billionaires, millionaires, billionaires, and elite. Okay, this is the world. And now here you have, okay, let's keep it like this. Here you have birds, alright? And what would we call birds? Birds, let's say birds are the unwanted people. The unwanted people can be, you know, they can be criminals or prostitutes, you know, those that, you know, let me say, problem children, disabled people, abused people, special needs people, and just rejected people, people that aren't liked. And this list of unwanted people exists in each layer of a society, okay? In each community, they fabricate a mental construction which they call society, and in each construction there is a label, there is an idol to which people have to conform, and those who don't conform to that idol are outcasts. So these are the outcasts, sometimes called parasites, and other derogatory terms. Okay? Those are the birds because they are wandering around. In Dutch, you have you have a term called vogelvrij. That's how you say it in Dutch. Vogel is English for bird, and vrij means to be free or liberated. And vogel is just bird or fowl. Okay? So vogelvrij in English literally means free as a bird. Okay? And what it basically means in Dutch, vogelvrij, basically means you have no protection. You know, you are unwanted, nobody wants you around, nobody cares about you. Really, they don't care about you, whether you're alive or dead. Okay, you're alive, that's fine, but we don't care about you, we don't want to talk with you. You see, that's what vogelvrij means. So everybody can kill you, do whatever you want with you, nobody will say anything about it. You're finished. That's what vogelvrij means. See, I forgot the English term for it, because in English also have a term for such people, but I'll just use the Dutch, vogelvrij, okay? Hold on a minute. No, just a message from Facebook, never mind. Look, just look at this carefully, because you need to understand this before I continue. I'm going to zoom in a little so that you can see it better. Hold on. Yes, okay. So this is a farm. You have the crops around here. You have those boundaries, and you have other farms. And you have the unwanted birds. Because remember, the goal of the farmer is that the crops will grow. So they will benefit from those crops. And birds have the tendency to eat those crops and to benefit from them. in a way that the farmers don't want, okay? And that's how it is in the world. In the world you have those imaginary constructions which always take the form of a pyramid. A few at the top who are the boss, who are the gods of that community, and the overly big majority is a slave, and you have a little class people in the middle who aren't the gods of that community but also aren't the slaves. They're just serving the elite, and they are abusing the majority who are the slaves, okay? And in the middle class, a lot of people fight to get into the elite and to avoid the working class. So that's how the world operates, you see. And you are expected to behave in a way that benefits the structure. You see, that's why you have the police, you have the court system, and you have the politics. All of that is to maintain this imaginary construction. You see, yes, there are cops out there who do want to protect the population, but the whole idea behind the cops and behind the army and behind the politics is not to protect the human beings of the community, but to protect the imaginary structure. And of course, if there aren't enough human beings, then you cannot have a structure. So they have no choice but to preserve the biological life of the population. But it's not because they care about the human beings themselves. You see, they don't really care about the quality of life as long as the imaginary structure is glorified. So the world only cares about the quality of the appearance of a society. You remember, society is a mental imaginary construction. The world doesn't care about the quality of lives of the human beings, okay? They may pretend that they are, but they really aren't, okay? So if you want to benefit in life, you want to move forward in life, you just want to, be safe and all, you're expected to give up your humanity, to give up all your natural human rights that God gave you, to give in to this, okay? And if you don't want to conform to this, then you're an outcast. Or if you aren't beneficial to their expectations, the expectation of society, you're an outcast, and you will receive revenge, you will be abused, and they will do whatever they want with you. And of course, there are times that some human beings out of the community stands up and to protect the rights of, minorities. But even then, most of the time, human beings choose the methods of society to protect those that are abused by society. So it doesn't really work, okay? So you have birds that threaten to mess up the division of the farmer. And here you have, outcasts that threaten the pyramid structures, okay? And many outcasts try to become one of the crops, or they try to fit in to the structure. Many are afraid what others think about them, or what of the opinion of others. That is mind control. That's fear of revenge from other human beings. So when you're worried about what people will think of you, or when you're worried of how people are going to perceive you, it's basically you are afraid of the revenge of others. Because listen, human beings have the potential to harm you. They have the potential to murder you, and besides murder, also have the potential to, while you're still alive, to harm you emotionally, physically, and all of that. And we are aware of it, especially when you're vulnerable. So most human beings try. Let me see, about 98%, or in some places 80%. Anyway, the majority of human communities, they try to fit into what we call society to avoid being attacked. They want to become a crop so they are secure, by the farmers. And they will even choose to view the birds as the enemy, while the whole system is evil. But they will still choose a certain group of people to scapegoat as the evil ones. So this is basically what the world's condition is. Now, the kingdom of God comes. Okay? You have believers growing here. Now the leaves begin to